everybody. Hi on how tonight. It's so good to be here. Part 3 of our bathing suit tutorial, how to make a swimsuit. Welcome. Have you been following along this whole time? We started on Monday, and then we did the bra shelf, and we cut out the whole bathing suit and constructed the inner workings. Then on Wednesday, we sewed the suit together, did all the seams, and it's looking like a real bathing suit. And now what's left to do is finish the edges and attach the elastic. So this is our final steps. But before we get in there, let us know where you are tuning in from tonight. I am here just outside of Toronto, Ontario, and I've got my good friend, Erin. Hello.
Hi.
Nice.
How are you?
Nice to see you tonight. I'm so glad that you're here. Tell everyone where you're tuning in from.
So I am here tuning in from the middle of nowhere, Alberta, about half an hour south of the city of Calgary, kind of out in the middle, but it's good. I like it.
Good. What's the name of the town? Because then when people say that town, going forward, we can be like, oh, I know there.
Yeah, it's Cayley, actually. And a long time ago, Cayley was really known in southern Alberta for being a cattle yard and trains and stuff.
Okay.
And if you ever drive from Calgary to Lethbridge, you can like wave at me from the highway because we're right off the highway.
Hi, Erin. Everybody wave to Erin now. This is the beauty of Karen behind the camera is waving. This is the beauty of the virtual environment, that you can be tuning in from anywhere. So I love going through the comments.
Totally.
Like hair in my lipstick. Like, come on, Jen, get it together.
It's okay. It's Friday.
Come on. Aha, there it is. Got it. Okay. Let's get started because we have 3 mega machines to get through tonight. I'm starting on the Serger. There was some people on Wednesday who we're talking about, yes, show us how to finish on the cover hem also. Because when you finish your bathing suit, you can just use your regular sewing machine and zigzag stitch, or you could use the cover hem machine or your regular sewing machine. That little beauty right there is only on sale for a few more days, you guys, on TSC, which is the shopping channel in Canada. If you're tuning in from Canada, and you're looking for a good deal on a great little Janome machine, that's the Janome 4120 QDC. And yeah, we had that on the shopping channel this month. And because it was a blockbuster, they're keeping the price on sale all month long, but it goes back up on the 21st. So if you're looking for a new machine, I wanted to like point that out because sometimes you think you can only get the good deals when we're on that day. But no, it's all month long. So check it out. The 100th anniversary Serger, which I'm using right now, is also on sale, and it's limited time for the Serger. So if you've been sitting on the fence about looking for a Serger, and you live in Canada, now may be a good time for you. So what I'm doing here, Erin, is I'm serging the armholes of the suit.
Yeah.
We ended on Wednesday. I keep wanting to say last week. Feels like a week went by. That's how much.
That's what happens in the summer.
Yeah. We left it that like everything was sewn together like seam wise, like down the body. But we still had lots of loose edges in all the openings. So the armholes, the leg holes, and the neck and back. So I'm finishing that with the Serger first. And then
Such a great idea.
Yeah, then I'm going to attach the elastic. And this just helps if not everything is totally lining up. Let me show you.
It's really forgiving, hey?
Yeah.
Being able to trim that seam allowance.
So if you see here, let me make sure you can see. I'm looking overhead. So if you see especially look at the seam here is a little bit further over. Oopsie. And the liner is naturally coming a little bit over here. The Serger is just going to take care of that. And honestly, by the time I fold under it for the elastic, it's going to be negligible in terms of whether anyone notices or you really notice. Look at how nice the serger just finishes that off and keeps everything nice and even. And that's because it's cutting as it's overlocking those stitches and then maintaining that stretch, which is really, really critical. So
Definitely.
At this stage of the bathing suit, I'm going to do that for the leg holes, the arm holes, and all along the neck. Now, if you remember in part 2, I left the bra shelf like loose inside. But I do want to finish that seam, so I am attaching the bra shelf to the armholes, so that it's just sort of the body, like the here and here of the bra shelf, that are loose inside the bathing suit, but it's nice and secure all around the armholes and the neck hole. So that's what I'm doing now.
And by serging all those edges, you're going to make it so much easier to put that elastic on, because you're only going to be dealing with one layer or like one part of your bathing suit instead of all of the different layers.
Exactly. It makes it all one piece. Honestly, to be honest, like doing it without the serger, I keep telling people, yes, you can do it without a serger, and you could, but
definitely.
Boy, it does make it easy for sure. I would definitely suggest, if you're having trouble with, adding the elastic or things aren't lining up, maybe basting it, which is just sewing in a long stitch if you needed to keep everything nice and together. Now, Amanda, if you were me and found a little spot in your fabric where it felt like, the outer was maybe a little longer or the inner was a little longer than the outer, would you give it a stretch or no?
Like in terms of the shape, to make it all line up, I would probably just give it a stretch. I mean, the beauty of Lycra and of swim and the amount of Lycra that's in swim, you're going to be able to do that without really sacrificing the fit or the look of the bathing suit. Okay,
that's good, because I will confess I'm kind of stretching at a couple little spots here where it feels like my outer fabric in especially around the armhole felt like a little bit longer. I don't know, sometimes it just felt like a little bit longer.
And you know what? And if you're stretching your lining fabric a little bit more than your outer, then that is going to give you actually a better fit, because it's going to sort of help with, camouflaging our bodies in a bathing suit, because everyone likes that. Right?
I've got Tamara here behind the scenes who has a question. Tamara.
So Isabel's asking, do you like to use clips or pins better?
Well, I'm finding with swim, the clips really, really useful. I don't love poking the hole in the swim. And, you use a ballpoint needle when you're sewing swim, but yet all of the pins that we have are sharp. So they are kind of damaging the fabric a little bit. So I find the clips helpful. Erin, what do you think?
I totally agree. Clips are my favorite thing. And of course, I think I told you on Monday that I always have a glue stick handy too. But clips are I probably reach for a clip 8 times out of 10. They're just so handy for all different things.
Yeah, for sure. It's only in those really little small, tight places that you can't kind of get a big clip in that I kind of reach for a pin now.
Well, pins are nice for when you're matching your seams, if you're doing anything where your seams have to be perfect.
Yeah, quilting, I always use pins. Because you're nesting seams and things like that. For sure. Good question, though. The only thing about clips is that you often have far more pins than you have clips. If you're like me, sometimes the clips are a bit pricey. Although I will say everyone's getting some clips in their homemade holidays box.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've even seen, I think there's a company, Ormcraft, maybe. I've seen the really narrow.
Yes, clips. Those are new.
Those are amazing.
Yeah. I'm adding another clip sometimes I move them down as I go. I'll move this over so you can see it. I'm just going down that low back right now. So making sure I'm attaching everything while also like getting that deep V of a curve.
I can't get over how fast that machine moves. Like, it is just so awesome.
It moves right along. I think it's like 1,200 stitches per minute, which is great. The Serger is, Sergers are fast workhorse machines like that. Like, there's 5 layers of fabric there. That seam was no problem. Just pumps along right over it. So that's the whole neck and back serged.
Awesome.
Doesn't take long. The Serger really makes quick work out of it. All right, I'm going to motor right along here. So at my armhole, I'm making sure I'm lining up the seam of my bra shelf with the outer seam of my fabric, because that's really the thing, and the shoulder's already together. So that's really the only thing that needs to perfectly line up. So I'm going to
are you nesting those ones too?
Yes. So I guess we should talk about nesting. So nesting is when, one seam is flipped one way and the other one is flipped the other way, and you kind of butt those two together. Maybe I can show you. So this one goes this way and this one goes here. And if you butt them together and you kind of pinch with your fingers, you can kind of feel, that's when a pin is really useful, actually. You can kind of feel them come together. And then that way it's just less bulky, because you're not trying to, put one kind of hump on top of another one. So,
and that's really going to make a difference when you go to put your elastic in as well. It's going to make that bump where the seams are much smoother, and so you'll have better stitches on that seam.
What's up?
What serger are you serging on? So
I'll let Tamara get a nice close-up of the new 100th anniversary Janome serger. This is a limited edition with that pink and white, you guys. This is a great serger. Honestly, I love it. I would say this is sort of middle of the road when it comes to serger. It's not like the top of the line, but it's not your super entry level either. And again, this is on, if you're watching from Canada, it's on sale until the 21st on TSC, because they're keeping that sale price all month long. So if you've been sitting on the fence for a serger, I can definitely vouch for this one. I've made all the swimsuits that I've done this whole series with on this serger. It's been great.
Another thing that's really nice about that serger is all of the thread paths are color coded. So when you look at your little map there, it is really easy to thread that serger, and as long as you thread in the order 1, 2, 3, 4, it'll work every time.
Yep. So often people, avoids a serger because they don't want to thread it. They don't want the hassle. They don't, I get it. I was saying the story last time. I sat on the fence for so long not getting a serger because I just didn't think I was a good enough sewer to warrant having a serger. And honestly, the joke was on me when I finally got one. It was like, oh, I never would have been a good enough sewer. The serger was what made me the good sewer, because it can just do so much more than your regular sewing machine can for you. And, swimsuits is such a good example of that. Same with the cover hem. The cover hem machine is honestly just feels like a treat, because yes, I have like my, sewing machine and my serger, and I feel like but the cover hem is like, okay, well, now I'm just good. now you're just making me look good, because it's like, it's really no more effort than the regular sewing machine or serger, but man, everything looks good with the cover hem.
And I love our cover hem. I love that you can adjust the tensions to do whatever you want to sew whatever you want on there. A lot of times a sewing machine, you don't really want to play too much with the tension, but on a serger and a cover hem, they're made to play with the tension so that it can do everything you want it to do.
For sure. And, the tension though, I got to say, I'm a slow study on what tension goes with what. I really only know thicker fabric, I'll adjust, but for a lot of times I kind of leave it at the factory settings, and it's been okay. It's been okay. When would you adjust the tension the most, Erin?
Probably when I'm doing something that's a little bit more decorative with my serger. I will adjust tension if I'm wanting to gather fabric, or if I'm wanting to do a faux flat lock, I'll adjust tension. I will adjust tension if I'm sewing like fleece, because that is thicker. I'll adjust my tension a tiny bit, but typically I just adjust my loopers. I very rarely adjust the needle tension.
I think that's probably good advice, especially if you're just starting out. If you're just starting out, you may not get right to like the decorative stuff that a serger can do. But you could definitely do a rolled hem on the edge of your napkins.
Yes.
You know, like that's a great different kind of use for the serger. Sometimes people think sergers are really only good for this one overlocking kind of stitch. But you really can do quite a bit with it once you realize what you can do with it, you know?
You can make a quilt on your serger. You can do like a lettuce hem on a t-shirt with a rolled hem and just stretching the edge of the fabric. I mean, you could even add, you know, a fun, if you're making a bathing suit for a little girl and you want to add some ruffles with your scraps, you can just rolled hem that and it makes really pretty ruffles too.
Do you notice I'm just tossing the scraps right on the floor?
Hey,
there's a little garbage bin for this. There's a little garbage bin for this serger too, but I don't know where it ended up. All right, I'm setting this down and I'm bringing over. Okay, so we're going to attach the elastic next. And I actually need my regular, so I'm going to use my regular sewing machine for this. Because I want people to really realize you really can do a lot of, or everything that you need to do on your regular sewing machine. So I'll do the first part of the elastic with the regular sewing machine and a zigzag stitch. So I've got my elastic cut. So if you'll notice or remember in part 2, I cut my elastic for my leg hole. And it's just a little, it's almost as big, if you can see. The elastic is almost as big as the leg hole. Because what this pattern calls for, and you can decide what you like on your body best, but what this pattern calls for is for you to have the elastic lying flat all along the front. And then in the back, where maybe, just maybe, you might have a little extra stretch, you stretch out the elastic. And then that allows for a nicer, flatter back when your bum fills it out. So.
And that totally prevents the wedgie thing.
Yes, there you go. Now, what the pattern's going to call for is for you to find your quarters. So to do that, just fold your elastic in half, and you can put a pin or a clip. I'm just going to use a clip because I've got them handy on either side. And this is just breaking the elastic up into more manageable pieces when you're sewing, so that you know when to start stretching. And then you want to quarter out your leg hole too, which is, you know, you don't have to be perfectly, but I'm going to match up the seams here because that seems about right. The ones with the seams are giveaways, but the other one, and then once you've quartered them, now you know where to attach the elastic. So with the elastic, I'm going to actually turn this inside out. You see, I'll do it this way so you guys can see overhead a little better. And remember, I want it to lay flat here, but bunch at the back. So I'm going to go ahead and start in the middle, where I've got this middle clip. I'll clip in the elastic, and then I'll allow the elastic to lay flat against the wrong side of my serged edge. Remember, I'm using swim elastic here, so it's more resistant to chlorine than regular cotton elastic, which is important. You don't want it just, you know, after one summer, it's suddenly snapping on you because the chlorine has eaten away at it. All right, take that clip out. And I'm just even clipping down where it needs to lie flat. I'm less worried about clipping the back because this is where I really want everything to lie flat. Make sure it's not twisted up. And now you can see it's starting to want to pull because there's not quite enough to get all the way there, but that's good. That's fine. So when we sew that, that's when we're going to stretch as we sew. Just the elastic though, not the actual bathing suit, just the elastic. I have one more clip. Could there be one more clip? No. That's all right. I'll use a pin. Do you like to sew with the elastic on the top? So you can see
Yes.
where you're stretching? Yeah.
Yes, I find that much easier, especially if I'm attaching with the serger. I like to have the elastic on top. And I'm right-handed, so it just seems natural for me to stretch the elastic with my right hand.
Yeah, for sure. So I just took off the free arm there because we've got a loop that we're going to be doing. And I am going to start before, just where it starts being flat. Now, okay, I've got white thread in the bottom and green thread on the top. That's fine. You'll be able to see my stitches. No big deal. I'm choosing a zigzag stitch. I've got it at a 3 and a 1.5. What do you think? Should I? That's probably fine.
I think that's good. After you sew a couple of inches, you'll be able to look at it and then decide if it needs to be different.
Oh, I just broke my thread already. Was it even threaded? Was it threaded?
It was.
So do we have just another? All right, I'll use this one on this. I think it's going to be okay. All right, so I'm just rethreading here. Just a typical rethread.
Look at how easy it is, though.
I know. You do get sort of some muscle memory built up with threading the sewing machine, don't you find?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still using my same ballpoint stretch needle for this.
Yep.
Now, I do think it could be a little bit wider because it is right in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
But the elastic is pretty big, and I do want to make sure it's totally, I'm not getting like any folding of the edges. So I'm just going to make it a little bit wider.
That's probably a good plan.
And now what I'm doing here is I'm just like, this is just lying flat, you guys. This is just straight up attaching the elastic to the wrong side of the bathing suit. Because remember, this is going to get folded over one more time. And that's how you attach the elastic. The trick is really, the stretching happens around the bum.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get there in a second. So
and what's nice about doing it that way is if for whatever reason, if the elastic ever, heaven forbid, broke,
mm-hmm.
you could, if you wanted to, replace it. Although it's probably just as easy to make a new bathing suit.
True. So again, all of these clips, I've got flat lying elastic. And as soon as I get to where this seam is, and you can see it's sort of starting over here to like not quite lie flat anymore, this is where the stretching is going to start. But everything is going to lie nice and flat until then. So now I'm coming up to the last flat clip. And so all I'm going to do is I'm going to let this go in like normal, and I'm going to pull a little bit back so that I get it to be flat with my right hand. So I'm stretching out that elastic. And so I want to make sure I'm kind of seeing how much is left over so I know how far I need to be stretching and it's kind of evenly distributed. Remember not to pull your bathing suit. You really just want to pull the elastic, right, Erin?
Yep, definitely. Because you don't want your, if you stretch the fabric and the elastic, then you could end up making bubbles. And, you want to leave the bubbles to the pool.
There you go. And if you have to, you could bring your hand around this side, especially at the end here, and not really pulling it, but just keeping it nice and flat as it's going through. Let the machine still do the work, but just so that your elastic is staying nice and stretched. Question, yeah.
Could you use the serger to attach the elastic?
Yes, 100% you could. There's elastic attachments. You also could just do the same technique, right? Erin, why don't you tell people a little bit about attaching with the serger?
Sure. So I do the same thing that Jen does with having the elastic on the outside. And so then I usually, I don't clip quite as much. I find that clips sometimes get in the way. So I do the same thing. You can also get different attachments for the Janome sergers that you can set the tension on the elastic. And so the little bar will hold tension to the elastic, leaving your hands free to guide the fabric.
That's great.
And you can actually even attach elastic on the cover hem. That is a skill that is definitely needs practice, but it does look really good as well.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And like once you have some of these tools, then you've like I have a cover hem here. I haven't attempted the elastic on it yet. But I know I will. These sewing is like you baby step things. You're like, well, maybe I'll give it a try. All right, so I'm just going to do the same technique on the other leg now. Let it lie nice and flat. Thank you. We've been sewing and filming all day in this room, Erin.
Have you?
Yeah, Ghazal Razavi. If you're following me on Instagram, then maybe you saw already. But Ghazal, who is the lead fabric designer at Figo Fabrics,
cool.
She was here filming her top class for the Homemade Holidays sewing
fun
event. Yeah.
Oh, I wish I was there for that. That would have been fun.
Well, I mean, I kind of thought, how cool is it to have the actual fabric designer right here? Like, and she's going to be talking to everybody in the event. And, she was talking about what inspires her, to come up with, and she was talking about her latest collection that's going to come out. And it was just kind of cool, Yeah.
That's awesome.
I tried not to be too much of like a fangirl and just like, yeah, totally. I know. Meanwhile, I'm like, what's so cool you designed
that totally happens to me all the time.
I know. Yeah, exactly. But she was very down to earth and so nice. Figo Fabric, awesome. Along with Janome, obviously is sponsoring the Homemade Holidays Sewing, the virtual weekend that's coming up in August. And yeah, we're making all of these cool holiday projects.
Fun.
And yeah, hers is a holiday top. So we thought, look, this is a cool top. You could wear it to Thanksgiving, you could wear it to Christmas, or you could just wear it. And she had a fabric collection that was all done in this beautiful linen. And, it's not very often, like so often we're sewing with like cotton and more cotton and more polyester. And it's like, this was pretty luxurious. It was like a linen cotton blend and it was gorgeous. So I'm excited to make the top.
Linen cotton washes and wears so nicely.
Yeah, it really looks good. It's and the top that she chose is like it's kind of a box top. It's gonna look good on everyone. So I'm excited. Cool. We got a little sneak peek of Ghazal on my Instagram stories today.
Oh, that does look like an awesome shirt.
That's her fabric too, with the green, the kind of that linen color linen, and then those green flowers, and there's a couple of different prints that people are getting.
Very cool.
All very cool. That's her Harmony collection. And she sewed on this little machine right here. I was like, hey, why don't you sew on? She's like, I love that machine. I was like, well, still on sale, TSC.
I keep going back and looking at it going, do I need it? Like, do I need it? I can't tell. Do I need it? I might.
I hate when I have to give the machines back, because when I get machines for, when I'm going to have them on the shopping channel or HSN, and then I really put them through their paces to see what they can really do, so I can compare them to other machines, and you inevitably end up like falling in love with some. Honestly, lots. And then you kind of like, oh, this is good. Like, I can see this as like a everyday good. It's not a huge footprint. It's a regular kind of sized sewing machine. Yeah. So nice, very nice. Okay, so I've got these 2 leg holes done. Basically, it's exactly the same technique around the arms and around the neck too. But let's get to turning them over and sewing it on, just because I want to make sure we're done within the hour tonight. So you can see I've got the zigzag stitch here that's all down the elastic, and the elastic is now on the wrong side of the bathing suit. But if you were looking at a store-bought bathing suit, it wouldn't look like this. You wouldn't see the elastic. It's actually turned under like this. It might be far more common to see like a serge stitch or just the edge of the trim of your bathing suit. So that's what we're going to do. You've got 2 options here. You can either zigzag stitch, and you'll see the zigzag on the front of your suit, or you could use the cover hem machine. So what should I do? Should I zigzag? I mean, or have you guys seen enough zigzagging? Do you want to go right to the cover hem? I'm going to look at the comments. Let us know. Do you want to see, are you more interested in seeing the regular sewing machine do it? Yes, it's Christine who was asking, could you use the serger to attach the elastic? For sure. Let me see. Come on, someone tell me, you want a zigzag or cover hem? Cover hem. Carolyn, you win. I think at this point you can all imagine what it would look like.
Everybody wants to see the cover hem.
So here it is. This is, okay, so Janome has a couple cover hems. This one is the 1000. There's also a 2000. There's a 900. Is there one below 900? There might be. No. Anyway, they're all great. They all work, honestly. It's a great little machine. It's not as complicated to thread as the serger, although it still does have that thread guide. And my absolute favorite thing about the cover hem machine is this little window down there that shows you what needles to thread depending on how big you want your cover hem stitch to be. So I constantly am referring to that. So I love that guide that's right there. Okay, so now I know people are intimidated by the cover hem. I was like, what am I going to do with the cover hem? How am I going to do it? But guys, it's so easy. And I want to just say, I didn't have enough serger thread in all the different colors. So I just put matching regular polyester thread through the cover hem so that at least I would have a matching color. So that's what I
do that all the time.
That's what I did. You've got an option to pull off the free arm even on the cover hem, which might be useful for something like looping, like the bathing suit here. But I think I'm going to leave it on. I don't mind leaving it on. But you've got that option, which is nice. All right, so I've got the first and third needle in the cover hem because that's basically wide enough to span across the 3/8 elastic. I want that double row of straight stitches to basically get as close to the edges of the elastic as possible. So I'm going to start start somewhere safe, like the crotch, so that I can,
That's an excellent starting point.
Just in case, it goes south, then if there's some unpicking that has to happen or whatever. It also means I'm going to sew into my flat edge, get sort of accustomed to the rhythm of the cover hem before I get to the stretchy part. So Erin, do I want to go back and stretch when I get to the bum like I did? Yes, exactly.
Definitely. And you might even want to use that little slider on the front of the machine that allows you just a little bit extra thread. So it works well when you're stitching bulky seams.
Okay. All right. So 2 needles are threaded, spanning across the elastic. And I'm pushing the sewing machine pedal, not the cover hem, because there's now 3 pedals back here. Go ahead, Tamara.
Before you get sewing, do you change needles in the Cover Pro for your material?
Erin, I didn't. Do you?
Okay, so what needles do you have in there? Do you remember?
The black and orange.
Okay, that should be okay. I think that's like a stretch size 12. I think you're okay.
We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna see.
Okay, sounds good.
But that is a good point.
And you might want to, if you haven't already, you might want to just lengthen your stitches just a little bit.
Okay.
If you're finding that they're bunching up.
Okay. And so on the side, there's 2 knobs, top and bottom, and the bottom one is for lengthening. So right now it's at a 1. Should I put it like 1.5 or 1.25?
Is the bottom, is that your differential?
Yes, that's it's the top.
Yeah, you want to leave your differential at 1, and then you probably want like a 3 or a 3.5.
Well,
for your stitch
all the way
length.
down at 2. Good thing you're here. Oh, that does look better.
Carol says this is the first time she's hearing about a cover hem.
First time, Carol. Oh my gosh. Okay, watch and wait until you see what
my
this
cover
does.
hem.
So the cover hem, Carol, it does straight stitching on the top, double or triple needle straight stitch. So on the end of your t-shirt, you notice how you see that like row of perfect stitches, and then you turn it over and it's got what looks like a serge stitch. That's what the cover hem does. So it gives you the look of that nice finished straight stitch on the front, and then it gives you that sort of overlocked stitch at the back, which helps you maintain the stretch. All right, I'm coming into the back where I can feel now. See how here it's like lumpier because it needs to be stretched out flat. So I'm going to make sure that it stays rolled over. And, I don't know about you, Erin, but I've always found with the cover hem, you're best to sew with confidence.
You bet. Speed. I mean, it's the way that a cover hem and a serger are designed, they're designed to be driven fast. So it's sometimes if you feel like it's getting held back, you might just be going too slow for the machine to actually do what it's supposed to do.
Yep. Now I'm coming to my row of stitches. Karin, maybe we'll get right close here. I'm coming to my row of stitches, and the cover hem actually has a clear foot here so that you can see where those stitches are, because you want to line up your needles. There's 3 little notches on the end of the presser foot, so that kind of helps you guide your stitches in, and so you can slightly overlap them.
Usually about an inch is what I do.
Yeah, I think I maybe was a little shy an inch there. Now, when you're finishing your cover hem stitch, I don't know about you, but this is what Liz always taught me. Liz from Janome was lift up your needles, and then roll it away from you and lift it back up. Lift up your presser foot, and then take something long and get it under the presser foot and pull those 2 threads forward.
Yep.
Then pinch that looper thread, and then you can cut your thread. And that sort of locks those stitches into place. Okay, I'm proud of this. Makes you feel so proud of yourself, you guys. Honestly, you feel like a right pro with the cover hem. Okay, look at these stitches in the front. This is what's going to make it look more like a store-bought bathing suit and less than if you had the zigzag stitches in the front. And then
that
look
looks
at the back.
so good.
Yeah, then the back has those stitches butted right up against the end of, and now that stretch is maintained. You guys, hello, this is so good. Like, this is where you don't think your home sewing can look as good as something that you bought in the store. And this is where you get proven wrong every time. The cover hem. Yes.
It's gorgeous. It looks great.
I feel very, very good about this. Now, we'll see how this bathing suit looks on, but I do like the stitches. I mean, that's not the machine's fault, is it?
Sandy wants one now.
Oh, Sandy. Well, you want to know what? This cover hem is going to be on, where's Sandy from, Canada or the US? You can check in with your local Janome dealer for a cover hem at any time. But I do know there's going to be a cover hem on TSC in September.
Ooh.
I don't know if I tell people that. I just saw an email.
We won't tell.
I just saw an email, you know, and don't send me stuff if you don't want me to share it. That's what I say.
We won't say anything.
Don't CC me if I'm not supposed to know and tell. All right, so same thing, just folding it over. Again, starting somewhere safe, like not at the stretchy part.
Mm-hmm.
I've got it folded over, and I can feel where that elastic. The cover hem does require a little bit of blind sewing, especially if you're doing like reverse cover hem. But you can feel under there where the elastic is and just make sure you're sewing right on top of it.
And you can even get like a hem guide that attaches to the front of the machine, and it has like a metal loop that you can put your fabric in, and so it'll hold your hem allowance in place.
I don't have that gadget. That sounds good.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I like it for like when I'm doing tighter sewing in the round, like sleeve cuffs and neckbands and stuff. It just helps hold everything in the right spot a little easier.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Can you tell Patricia what TSC is?
Oh, TSC, Patricia, is the shopping channel. Although they did change the name to Today's Shopping Choice, but everyone still calls it the shopping channel. It's like HSN in the US. The shopping channel is, they sell Janome sewing machines there every so often. And I am the lucky girl who gets to present them. So I sometimes have a little bit of an edge on what's coming out because I have to get the shows ready. So I do know in September they've got a whole assortment of stuff coming. Like,
that's so exciting.
Honestly, like big time, amazing machines coming. All right, so I've gone over an inch. I've lined up my stitches from this side with the notches that are on the front. Now I'm gonna wheel this away from me, lift up, pull those threads to the front. Pinch.
You could even clip them at that point, and then the bottom thread would pull them under to the back.
Oh, okay. All right, so now I've got lots of long kind of dangly threads. I can just trim them up here.
So just give your bottom thread a little tug before you trim it, and that helps to lock your top threads in place.
Okay.
You've inspired Leslie to
machine. That's great. So look at that double row of stitches again.
Looks fantastic. Good job.
And then on the other side, I kind of went off a little bit here, but whatever, no one cares. No one's going to be searching that, that part looking for stitch precision, I guarantee you. But it is nice that it maintains that stretch. And that's what having like the right tools will really help you do. So yes, you can do this with just your zigzag stitch, but boy, that looks good, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how are we doing for time? We got 10 minutes left. So I'll just work away here, but honestly, in the last 10 minutes, I'm just going to go ahead and add the do the same thing around the arms, and pretty much the bathing suit is complet.
It looks good. I can't wait to see it finished.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the last stages there, which is exactly the same as here. All around the arms. I just need to cut the elastic and go all around the neck. And I'm just going to do that exact same process, which is lie it flat around the V of the neck, and then stretch it around that back dip. And same with around the arms. I'll let it lay flat around the front arm and then stretch it a little bit along the back, so that I've got just a little bit more hold. I didn't say this time, but this pattern is the Minute Maillot pattern from Patterns for Pirates, in case you were also wanting to, try your hand at making a bathing suit this summer.
Well, I printed it.
Yeah?
So I'm one step closer. I printed it.
That's good. That's honestly, the printing and the taping of the pattern together, I find, is probably the same amount of time as making this whole bathing suit.
Oh, definitely.
Sometimes don't you find you need a separate day just for like putting your patterns together? You've run out of steam.
I just bought, we have a projector. I just bought like a tray that I can screw to my tripod, and I'm going to try to mount it sideways so that I can project my pattern so I don't have to tape it.
I can't wait.
I'll keep you posted if it works.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how that turns out. Wow. All right, look at how nice and flat this side is. Like, look at how nice it's sitting. We've got a little bit of stretch in the bum. It's laying nice and flat across the front where it needs to be flat. And then we've got a little more give just there. That's great. Honestly, not bad for a homemade bathing suit.
I'd say it's pretty darn good, Jen. You did a good job.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Honestly, I'm so glad that you were here with me live to help answer all the questions and cheer me on along the way. Tamara, is there any other questions or comments?
Yeah, there's a question from Carolyn. She's wondering if the pattern would be good for a child's ballet leotard.
Totally. Yeah, totally. Because it's just a straight up, this is the kids one I made. So if you were watching on Facebook, this is the kids one. And I did the low back, but for the ballet leotard, you would just choose the high back, because typically in, they're higher in the back for ballet or for jazz or whatever. And I do know that this pattern has high, mid, and low.
Super cute.
Yeah, I just did the low ones. Honestly, couldn't be happier with the whole bathing suit experience. I'll show you guys, this is the zigzag stitch and the difference between the two, because I just zigzagged on the ones that I made for me and the kids out of the palm pattern. So there's the zigzag stitch on the palm. Can you kind of see it? It's in white.
You can see it.
And then the cover hem beside it. So this one I just find like it totally works. It's totally functional, but it does look a little more homemade. Like you wouldn't see that at a store. You would see, this at the store versus that kind of zigzag. But it still does totally maintain the stretch. I did it in exactly the same way, serged the edge. And if you didn't have a serger, you would just zigzag stitch the whole way through. If you don't have the serger, try it with the zigzag stitch. If you're not bothered, or you don't have the serger or a cover hem, in your horizon in the near future, no big deal. It doesn't mean you can't make a bathing suit. It just means that make sure you're a little more precise in your cutting, because you don't have the fail safe of the serger to trim things up for you. And it'll still be great. Honestly, no one at the beach is going to notice the difference between a straight line stitch or your zigzag stitch. It's all your own pure joy at this point when you kind of love sewing and you see what you were able to pull off.
Absolutely.
For sure. Yes, Sandy's reminding us that we could use the double needle also. Yeah, totally. You could do that. Because often when you use the twin needle, the zigzag stitch is what's happening underneath. Okay. Anything else before we call it a night? I'll finish this up and maybe I'll post a pic. Yes? Tomorrow's like, yes, you must post a picture.
Or even a flat lay. You could just like lay it out beside the pool with like your hat and your flip flops and a book.
Yeah, that's true.
Good.
Yeah, that's true. I could for sure. Well, we'll see how it fits in the end. But honestly, it's taking all my will not to like put my legs in this right now and just yank it up and be like, yeah, looks good. That would be a point where my mom would say, Jen, don't be ridiculous. So I hear her in my head right now. I won't be ridiculous. I'll wait until it's totally finished around that seam. But thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I hope you'll like and share it and follow me on social media. And Erin, where can people follow you?
You can follow me on my fabric account, which is Kiss My Stash Handmade. Kiss My Stash Fabric _handmade. It's been a long, hot week here. And then also you can follow us on the Janome Canada social media. We have tons of different social media accounts. We've got @Janome Canada, @Janome HQ. We've got YouTube, Pinterest, all those things.
Cool. I've got all those things too. Of course, you may be watching on my page right now. If you're watching on the Janome page, hopefully you'll go and give me a follow on Facebook and Instagram. It's Try On Homemade on Facebook, and Jennifer _try on, like try on a coat or try on this bathing suit. It was like I was meant to be a sewer.
I love it.
I can't believe I never thought of that joke before. All right.
You're so funny. It's great.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.